Hi BookTube, it's Eleanor here. Happy Friday. I wanted to do a video tonight to talk about what I've read this week, and my plan is then to do another video for Sunday to tell you about what I'm going to read for the next week, giving me the weekend just to sort of read what I fancy. Before I start, I really wanted to thank two booktubers who have unwittingly made me want to go on BookTube, and the first one is Jean's Bookish Thoughts. She did a video a couple of weeks ago about how to use your iPhone when you want to record a video, and it was from using that I thought, oh, actually I could probably handle that, and it had quite a good tutorial in it, so it was because of that I picked up the video and decided to give it a go, so thank you, Jean. Also, Estelle from Orden Enta, not sure if I've said that right, so I'm sorry Estelle, but she's just wonderful. I love watching her videos, they're always really interesting. I love the BookTube reading buddies which she set up on Vickery, and she's just always got something nice and interesting and positive to say, and is just a really nice person from what I can tell. And so I wanted to thank her as well, because it was from speaking to her and watching her videos that made me want to be more of a big part of BookTube. Anyway, cracking on with what I've read this week. I'm afraid a couple of the books I haven't got to show you because they've gone back to the library already, but the first one I read was Tomorrow When the War Began by John Marsden. This was recommended by Books Under the Bed. It's a story of Ellie and her friends, and they go camping. This is based in Australia, and they return a week later to find out that their town has been invaded. Ultimately, I gave this book 3 stars. It was okay, I just didn't feel like an awful lot happened. I just thought it sort of meandered quite a bit, and it was a lot more focused on sort of the relationships of the teenagers, and I just didn't find it gripping enough to want to continue and read any more in the series. It was good, but just probably not for me. The second book I read this week was Landline by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I've only ever read one other of Rainbow Rowell's, and that is Fangirl, which I really enjoyed. I just thought it was a really good, interesting, engrossing story. This one was about Georgie, who is older. She's probably just about to be 40 or in her 40s. She's having problems in her marriage. She's got 2 children. She's a comedy writer, and she has a best friend, Seth, who she's known since university days, who is a big part of her life. And it's really about sort of her life and the changes that are going on and the problems she's having with her husband, and it's all centred over Christmas time. It was good, and I enjoyed it, and Rainbow Rowell always writes stuff that you can really enjoy, but I just didn't find myself really connecting with any of the characters. I didn't really like Neil that much, and I really didn't like Georgie that much at all. And I think if you can't find a character that sort of you can relate to, then it's quite difficult. So yeah, I only gave this 3 stars. I just didn't find it for me really, and I didn't connect with any of the characters. The third book I read this week was a bit of a surprise really. It was Born at Midnight by C.C. Hunter. I really enjoyed this book. It was about 16-year-old Kylie. She's broken up with her boyfriend, or he's broken up with her because she doesn't want to have sex, and she goes to a party one night with her friend, and it's raided. She's not even been drinking or doing drugs, but because she's been at the party, her parents decide to send her to a holiday camp, to a camp. We don't have those sort of camps really in the UK, so Americans probably understand what the sort of summer camp thing is. I mean, we have some sort of things like that, but not as many, but especially not when I was a teenager. I feel like I've missed out. But she's sent to a camp, and her parents have just got divorced, which has been a big part of her life and caused her quite a lot of anguish. And it's just around her story there where she finds out that all those things that you thought weren't real, vampires, werewolves, shapeshifters, actually are, and that she might be one of them. And it's just about that story, and has a bit of a sort of mystery involved as well. and it's a really good introduction to this series, and it was easy reading. It's just one of those stories that I can't feel ashamed to read. I love it. I love something that will just take me away into a little fantasy world. It's not the best writing necessarily, it's just easy reading, pure unadulterated fun. So 4 stars for that one from me, because I really enjoyed it and I'm going to read some more in the series, I think. And then lastly this week I read The Collected Works of A.J. Vickery by Gabrielle Zevin. Now, this is possibly one of my favourite books of this year so far. It's an adult novel. It's about a man who owns a bookstore, and his wife has died, and he's just approaching 40. His wife died a year ago, and he owns a bookstore on an island called Alice. It's the only bookstore on the island. He set it up with his wife, who was the driving force and more of the social butterfly. He's not doing anything with his life now. And the book's about how one morning he wakes up and there is a 2-year-old toddler left in his bookstore. And it's about how this toddler changes his life, his story from there on in. But it's all about books. There's book references and book quotes, and it's just a beautiful book, and all those things that as book lovers we can appreciate when you go on a first date. What's your favourite book? You're interested to find out, and people think it's just something that you say, but actually it can tell you a lot about someone. And it's just those little things, those little quirky bits of humour in there. I made a note actually. One of the things he discusses with someone is what theme would your literary diner be? What would you have yours themed around? And the person he's with talks to him about theirs, and he says that he was always really excited about trying Turkish Delight after reading The Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe and Narnia, and how it was a bit disappointing because Turkish Delight, he didn't really like it when he did try it. But I just thought that was really interesting. It's the sort of things that I would ask myself. So I can't push this book enough. It's easy reading, it's not hard to read. I've read it in a day. It's just beautiful. What a wonderful book. Yeah, 5 stars. 5 stars. Please read it. It's just really good. So that's the books that I've read this week, and watch this space to find out what I'm planning on reading next week and what I'm currently reading. Anyway, good night for now, BookTube.